Hi, my name is Velma, and if you are joining us for the very first time, welcome. And if you are a regular listener to the show, welcome back. Here's a big virtual hug. All right. Have you guys ever wanted to eavesdrop on someone else's conversation? I mean, I know that none of you have ever done that, but just imagine if you could eavesdrop on someone's conversation. Well, today you have permission to do just that. I am super excited to invite you into the conversation that we're going to have with none other than Scott Gilbert. So, Scott, welcome to your leadership chat.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. In my personal and professional philosophy, anytime I have an interaction with somebody, the question in my mind is always, what can I learn from this person? And anytime I have an opportunity to speak with you, that question is dialed to 11. So I appreciate your time today.
Oh my gosh, man, he's out of the gate. Okay, listeners, Scott, I'll pay you later, but he is out of the gate with a compliment. I think I should learn from you and do that out of the gate compliment on it. But I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much, Scott. It means so much coming from you because we've had the opportunity to not just meet virtually. We've kind of met in skin. You know, I like to say skin firsthand, and you took a chance on me and put me in front of your member base some time back and gave me the opportunity to speak into them about becoming a valuable leader. And it was a fascinating experience, a lot of fun interaction. And then you invited me back, and we had another one where we had that session was all about communication. You remember, and I kind of introduced my love for birds, and everybody got on the platform with me and did a little dance, if I remember.
Yep. Oh yeah, we danced for sure.
Yeah, so that workshop, that was a fun one too. Well, to kick us off, Scott, can you tell the listeners, those that are listening in, so everybody listen in here, drum roll, tell them a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Scott Gilbert. I am the relatively new executive director of CAI West Florida chapter. We're not the CIA. We don't know who killed Kennedy. It's CAI, which stands for Community Associations Institute. It's an international organization at this point, and the focus is providing education and networking opportunities to the homeowner association world. So especially in the state of Florida, this is a big business. It's not always something that is as involved in some other states, but with the number of retirees and the legislative activity that goes on in the state of Florida, we stay pretty busy as far as making sure the information we provide to our members who are board of directors within their communities, or they are community association managers, or they are companies that have a specific department under their roof that focuses solely on associations. So instead of just commercial or individual residents, they apply for bids that can facilitate jobs to large-scale associations, which could be 20 houses or 500 houses.
Wow. Yeah.
So what we do is provide the education, so CEU courses for managers that need that to continue their licenses, board certification programs for newly instituted board members, and then any education that we can provide to businesses, representatives who are professional development individuals or business development or marketing that can help enhance their career. So I've been the membership director the past 5 years, with our executive director of the last 10 years retiring at the end of this year. I've been fortunate enough to be tapped as the next person in line, and I'm very excited for that role.
Yeah. And, congratulations, Scott.
I appreciate it. My investment over the past 5 years as membership director has been in the people I work with. That's the thing that I value most about my job is I'm not selling a mindless product. I'm not pitching something that just kind of helps the bottom line. What we do here as a not-for-profit is enhancing people's education, giving them more opportunities. I get to see a 25-year-old come into a new job not knowing what they do. And even though it's not our responsibility, what we can help them with is providing tools to say, if you want to be, and you are an expert on leadership, the leader is not always the person up front talking. There's several different abilities you can have and
Right.
obtain to be a leader in your world, and we
Right.
can provide them the knowledge and opportunity to do just that.
Okay. Yeah. And so that leads into really what my next kind of question is. And I saw your, when I met you, I saw that trait about you, that you really care about the person. It was not, you realize that membership is really a relationship, and how can you make that person better in their job, in their life, however you can enhance. I love that word you used, enhance. How can you enhance, their life, or what they do, personally and professionally? Then you're adding value to them. And so, when you take membership and you look at it as a relationship, you're like leapfrogging. I think you're leapfrogging your value, what you give to your members. So you talked about, leadership, and it doesn't have to be from a position. And I know that you yourself was leading in the membership role, not being the leader of the chapter, but leading in your space, wherever you are, wherever you show up, you're that leader, and we have a responsibility. Can you tell us or share with us who is a valuable leader in Scott's life and why?
That's a good question.
And don't say me, because you started out with that compliment.
Sure. I'll keep it pretty simple. The leadership skills that I have worked on throughout my life are by primarily the attitude and behavior I've seen through my parents.
Oh, yeah.
Neither of them are the ones who need the credit, the responsibility. They don't need to be upfront. They have always led in their respective worlds by their actions.
Yep.
In fact, they deter credit
Mm,
just because they don't like the spotlight, but they are willing to put in the work, and they know that what they do on a daily basis, the small efforts,
right.
lead up to a bigger payoff to somebody else,
Wow.
and that helps everybody. So I've always seen their behaviors and their way of doing things. Uh, for instance, I'll never forget in high school at my graduation, and I knew this ahead of time. My
Right.
parents donated a defibrillator to the
Oh,
high school,
okay.
and they didn't want any credit, and they, because they wanted to put their name on it, and they just said no. We just, a student collapsed in Scott's senior year, and there was not a defibrillator. Even though he's graduating, please provide this moving forward. And of course, at graduation, they got called to come up front. They
Ah,
were just,
oh no.
they hated it. But every once in a while, even somebody who just doesn't really need or want the credit, sometimes it is good to just acknowledge them and appreciate them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact that they don't want the credit, or they don't need the credit, is says a lot about them. But the fact that, the school valued their contribution, and how much they cared about, your classmates and future classmates that would be in the school, how much they cared about the individuals there, going back to caring about an individual. I mean, that speaks volumes, to the type of individuals your parents are. And you didn't, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, like they say. You have that in you, and it's a product of what you do every day, in your career. So it speaks volumes to you as an individual, and the level of maturity that you have and value that you bring. I love something you said, about them being valuable leaders in your life. And for those that are listening, this is like, valuable leaders are not necessarily those that have corner offices and drive the big cars, right? This is, the everyday person that has made a tremendous impact in the lives of others. And you said it was, and I'm not going to say it exactly like you, but I thought it was well said around the fact that it was every day they did something, that was small, but it made a big impact. It's like that little, like it's like the analogy of, they say you throw a pebble into the water, right? And it's small, it's a small little pebble, but then it has this ripple effect, and it kind of, goes out in a bigger way, it spreads out. And I think that is a good way of describing the, what you said about your parents. So and their value in your life. Wow, thank you for sharing that. And I love the story. I mean, cool story about high school, that's excellent. So you have examples in your life, and I'm sure there are others of valuable leaders. Now, let me take you to the other side of that scale.
Sure.
Okay, so you've got these valuable leaders in your life. They've made an impact. You've learned, and you're applying that. So for Scott, I want you to just reflect for a minute. You can grab a cup of coffee or a drink or whatever you have. Buy yourself time. This is a chat. You're not.
Sure.
He's not like schooled and prepared and got a notes. He doesn't have any notes. Just for all our listeners. And there is coffee in my cup. And last time I did it, I spilled it. But just trust me, there's coffee in this cup. And my cup today is the one who loves Christ is full of joy and radiates joy, Pope Francis. So I always take a minute and share. May the God of hope fill you with all the joy and peace and blessings, Romans 15 and 13. So I always share whatever's on my cup. I have a different cup all the time. All of my listeners know I'm not selling these, so just no commission. But for you on the other side of the scale, tell us how you're making an impact in the lives of others as a valuable leader yourself.
Time is our most valuable asset that we have. And I especially working in a members-based industry, giving somebody your 100% effort in time and focus, whether it's just a small question or we need to really sit down and navigate an issue that you might be having.
Right.
If I can provide my undivided attention, and not that it's more valuable than anybody else's, but when you can sit down with somebody and say, wow, this person is not hearing me, they're listening to me. I'm not just noise in the background, but they're consuming everything I'm saying, and they're coming up with potential solutions or ways to assist me moving forward.
Right.
That's what I try and devote to every conversation I have when I'm at work, whether it's somebody who I've just met for the first time, or our chapter president who I know very well and is asking me questions about financials or something significant. It doesn't matter. You're going to get my same 110% of focus, so that you know that what you are saying to me matters.
Yeah, no. And what a valuable asset that you hit on at time. Time is life, right? It's what we have. It's the beginning and then the end, and that's what we have. They always say, you probably heard the story about the fact that you can't borrow time from yesterday. You can't save time today for tomorrow. So it's what you have now that counts. And it's the fact that you hit on the way that you add value is that you make sure you're present. You show up and you're not just hearing what somebody says, but you're actually listening. And there's we could talk about the difference between hearing and listening. If you remember, one of the exercises that I did on that workshop was I had a couple of the members up, and I told one member what I wanted for my order, and they had to remember it to repeat, and we were like, well, I heard what you said, but I really didn't listen because I was like, how do I get it all down? So it's fun that there is a big difference between do you hear me, or are you listening to me? So thank you for speaking into time. What a great gift. And thank you for your time today. This is a big investment from you. And
that's anything for you, Velma.
Man, no, people are going to think like you're my fan or something. No, he's really just a good guy, and he had no idea what he was getting into, guys. So, all right. So let me wind us down, because this is a chat and kind of a thing. But I want you to think about this for a minute, take a sip if you need to, but what is one big takeaway that you would want to give to anyone that's listening in on this recording? What's one big takeaway that you have that you say, you know what, I want you to, think about this in order to become more valuable as a leader in the lives of others? What would you tell other people, our listeners, to do to become more valuable as leaders themselves?
I would say no matter your position, whatever you're doing, you mean something to somebody in your world.
Right.
and to understand the weight of that, and that
Wow.
whether you're doing a job that you don't necessarily like right now, or you are in a relationship you're not necessarily a fan of, or whatever your position is, you matter to somebody. And
Mm,
understand that, appreciate that, and take on that responsibility that your actions, your words, everything you say is
mhm.
impacting others in your world, no matter how small or how big, whatever
Right.
platform you have. Um, just to understand that actions, discussions, small interactions, everything matters to somebody at some point,
Yeah.
and to don't take that for granted. You know,
Wow.
there are people that think that they don't matter, or they're just somebody in the background. You're not. You are the main character in your own story, and to
Oh,
appreciate that, and treat that with respect to yourself as much as you can moving forward. I mean, we
yeah.
all have a purpose, and we all are impacting others in our world, and just try and keep it positive for the most part.
Man, I love that. You're just a very you're like silent but deadly. Okay. You're like you think through things, very deep thought leadership. The fact that you hit on the point that everybody matters and you matter to someone. So, we're always on stage, right? Somebody's always looking and always learning from us, and we want that to be a positive experience, right? Because they're going to learn
Absolutely.
the good and the bad, right? So you want to put out a positive experience. And what a powerful takeaway to really think about how you matter, and to everyone you meet, that people are going to be learning from you in one way, and to make that a positive learning experience. So wow, deep thought. I'm just saying, you like, I gotta get another cup of coffee. All right, no, that's wonderful, and that is how you add value. Just like Scott said, you really want to show up and be present with people, be there, make your presence known, because you matter to the person that you're with. And there's this cliche or saying that you may be one person in this world, but in this world you may be that one person to most important person to someone. And I messed that up, but it's a great saying out there. I'll put it in the show notes or something. um, hey, so tell the listeners, how can they contact you or learn more about you or follow you? How can they just stay closer to your influence and get more value from you?
Sure. So we are a members-based organization at CAI. We're the West Florida chapter. We cover Sarasota, Manatee, and DeSoto counties.
Mhm.
That's my job, but my role in life is to be a friend, an uncle, uh, mentor, or just somebody who's willing to listen to you. So you can always reach out to me primarily through work. Just Google CAI West Florida chapter. That's
Yeah.
who we are. I'm the executive director. Whatever we can do to help, we work with local animal shelters. We help feed kids during the summer when school's not there and they don't have that guaranteed meal. That's been the highlight of my time with CAI is, again, people being our primary resource, but we can also assist others within our community through my job. And that's
Mhm.
been my biggest takeaway, is helping other organizations that we have a plethora of benefits with successful companies and people who are educated and knowledgeable and wealthy. That's great. So what can we do to give back to our community?
Wow.
And that's always been our goal. But yeah, CAI West Florida chapter. You can find out more about me and my team there. I value everybody I work with, and I'm happy to make any introductions, because that's what we do. We educate, we network, and if we know somebody who can be a benefit to you in your world,
Right.
I'm happy to make that connection for you.
All right. Wow. Well, you guys heard it here. It's not the CIA, it's this CAI, the Community Association Institute, and it's the West Florida chapter here in the Sarasota, Florida area. However, for Scott Gilbert, I'm telling you guys, you could go out to LinkedIn and put in Scott's name. And I'm going to put a link in this for us so that you could connect with him on LinkedIn. I know he would welcome it. And like Scott said, I love the fact that he shared and you shared that you really spoke from the heart, which is huge, because the true value of what you love is to be able to give back and help. I mean, animal shelters and kids, out of school that don't have meals. I mean, Scott, that has nothing to do with the, association world, or, the, community apartments or associations or buildings. It has nothing to do with that type of infrastructure. Yet you are impacting that through your chapter and through those members and volunteers that obviously share that same passion with you. So, yeah, so well, I want to, hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of Your Leadership Chat. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button here and tap that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. I hope too that you'll give us a thumbs up on the video for a like. And then if you feel led, please share the video with those who need to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Your Leadership Chat.